From a winter war to a spring offensive. After a year of fighting, the conflict in Ukraine is entering a potentially decisive phase. In recent months, the combat along the front line has been intense but incremental. But analysts say both sides are now gearing up for a wider push.
Part of the rationale behind the next Russian offensive is probably to disrupt Ukraine's ability to regenerate the capacity to go back on the counteroffensive. So a lot will depend on how many of its reserves Ukraine has to throw in and how badly their casualty rates go up in stopping that Russian offensive.
To a large extent, it's a race against time and for more resources. Will Ukraine receive Western military hardware as promised? Will Russia successfully mobilise fresh troops, replenish stocks and replace lost tanks?
The bad outcome, as it were, is that Ukraine runs out of steam and is unable to take back most of the remaining occupied territory before that new wave of Russian-trained mobilisees and industrial equipment starts to come in at the end of the year. And at that point, we're headed towards, I think, a long-term stalemate.
One factor making that stalemate more likely is the apparent determination of President Putin to push ahead with the war he started. A former US National Security advisor says Russia's heavy losses have not deterred him.
Putin's made it very clear that he's prepared to sacrifice whatever it takes, and that's, part of the problem. I mean, there's lots of statements being made and rumours coming out that he's willing to sacrifice the 300,000 people who have been called up.
Could that alleged cold indifference lead us to the most catastrophic scenario, the use of nuclear weapons? Putin has hinted at battlefield nuclear strikes in the context of uncontrolled escalation. Is this just sabre-rattling?
Actually using them generates almost no practical benefit at all, and certainly nothing to compensate for all of the costs, both in terms of immediate escalation risk, irradiating things they want to hold on to and be part of, and also pushing away the rest of the world.
If nuclear warfare seems a remote prospect, so too appears the chance for peace or even a ceasefire. Russia and Ukraine have rejected each other's terms for a settlement and for now are focused on territorial gains rather than diplomatic solutions.